One of the things I find interesting about riding my bike from one end of the town to the other part of town is that I get to share the experience with all of y'all. All of y'all get to travel along with me, experience it to some extent. I try to give a little bit of description so you know what the temperature is like, so you can kind of envision what I'm going through and how it is. So, so all that helps me set the mood for the traveling that we do together. And I try to make it so that it's somewhat entertaining. We have fun. One of the things that has happened here recently is that I've had a bunch of complaints saying that I talk too much. Now, most of my life, people haven't talked to me about me talking too much. Um, so I decided a few videos ago that I would try to do what people want, which is to not talk as much. I said I'll give a 10-minute segment here where I just wouldn't talk. I would just do an ASMR part. Well, the 10 minutes might have turned into 15 minutes, but I did do my part. I did my part, which many people had asked about, saying, please don't do some talking. You just talk and talk and talk. And while that may or may not be true, I'm not going to agree with that or deny that. What I do know is that after I spent all that effort of going 10 minutes, which may have turned into 15 minutes, of not talking, I didn't get any feedback from the people who complained about my talking saying, wow, that was awesome. I love the fact that you went 10 minutes that turned into 15 minutes without talking. I play over that part of your ride all the time. It's one of my favorite parts of your ride. I would play it over and listen to the ASMR as my wheels hit the ground, and you could hear the gravel and the rocks as they hit your wheels, and you could hear the hum of the electric motor on the bicycle as I travel down the street. You know, I really appreciate you listening to my comments and shutting up for a change instead of talking all the time. That was one of my favorites, and I really appreciate it that you do that. And what I would like for you to do is maybe extend that 10 minutes that turned into 15 minutes to more like 20 minutes that, turn into maybe 30 minutes. That would make my day now. That's how you actually do a bike ride. However, I never got any of those comments. I didn't get any comments. All you people who said that I talk too much, why weren't you appreciative of the fact that I was silent? That I took 10 minutes, which may have turned into 15 minutes, and not talked. And we just got to enjoy the environment. Well, I decided after such a event and horrible treatment upon myself of getting no comments for the nice period of time, the 10 minutes that I gave you, which might have turned into 15 minutes, of no comments, of just enjoying the scenery, listening to the wind fly by, since the people who complained about me talking so much did not comment on having a wonderful experience, I had to make an executive decision. In the future, we're only going to have, at max, 10 seconds of no talking. The rest of the time, I got to do something. Now, my problem is, I can't come up with ideas all that much. So, I may have to resort to singing. Now, the problem with singing is, I can't sing. That's just put it bluntly. I just can't. I can't carry a tune. I can't get close to the tune. When I sing, if I hit a note, not only would it be an accident, it would be a miracle. There was a time in which I had hope. There's this thing called autotune, in which it would line up your singing. You run your voice through this autotune, and it would tune you into the appropriate note that you're trying to sing. But autotunes has a problem. You have to get fairly close to the note for it to know what note you were trying to hit. So it turned out that I can't even get close enough to a note for autotunes to autocorrect my singing. So, yeah, it sounds worse after it gets autotuned because it doesn't make any sense at all. So, yeah, I'm going to have to apologize that if I break out into singing, I realize that's going to, how would I put this, harm your ears, maybe destroy your sense of musicality. But I'm not taking any responsibility for that, because you have to remember, I gave everybody a chance to have a period of time of 10 minutes that might have turned into 15 minutes where I said nothing. But y'all didn't seem to care. I gave you what some people wanted, and I got no feedback. So resorting to the fact that now I have to take singing, that's not on me. That's on y'all. You did this to yourself. The harm that you get, the musicality decline in your life, it's not my fault. I take no responsibility for that. Y'all just have to handle it best you can, because you're not getting any responsibility from me. It's just not my fault. I'm doing what I have to do in order to keep the silence from happening. And if I keep the silence from happening, that's just what happens. Sometimes you have to keep the silence from happening. And this is one of those times. So, 10 seconds. Hopefully I can remember 10 seconds. I mean, it's a round number. So, it's a 1 and a 0. I know that's also binary, but we're not going to treat it as a binary number. We're going to treat it as a 1 and a 0 being 10 seconds. However, like I said, I have a bit of trouble sometimes coming up with ideas. I remember when I was a kid with my younger brother, we roomed together for a good part of our lives. And we had bunk beds. And I was on the top bunk bed, and he was on the lower bunk bed. And so we would sit around and we'd talk at night. And we'd talk about all sorts of things. Sometimes we'd build forts with our sheets and bring in a flashlight and shine it around and pretend like we're in war or something exciting's happening. And we would just have a good time. We may do that for 3 or 4 hours. We'd try to be somewhat quiet because we had a mom who, when you went to bed, she thought you should go to sleep. That was no longer playtime. I don't know where she come up with these ideas, but she had the idea, if you went to bed, you're supposed to go to sleep. Well, we had the idea that when you go to bed, it's time to build a fort. And so we would use the covers and put them in, like the bunk beds that we had like spring. I had springs on mine, so you could take the covers and stick them into the springs and make the cover stay there for a bit, and you can build yourself a pretty decent tent. And with a flashlight, and maybe we could have a book or something, we could come up with some pretty good things. So we would sometimes do that for several hours at a time. And when we were just doing war-type stuff and planning our strategy of how to conquer the world, we weren't that noisy. However, sometimes we got into nonsense. I don't know if y'all ever did anything like this, that you would tell a joke, and, sometimes I run out of jokes to tell. Sometimes I tell stories that are funny. Well, they're funny to me. They may not be funny to you. No, we all have different opinions of what's funny and what's not funny. But I find some things funny. I find a lot of things funny, in fact. And a lot of people, when I tell them this funny story, and I'm just dying laughing, I look over at them, and they're just sitting there with their mouths wide open thinking, what the heck is he talking about? Does anybody know what's going on with this guy? Yeah, that's me. I don't know why I do that, but some things are just so hilarious. And my younger brother, he found things hilarious too. We could laugh at nonsense. And when I say nonsense, I mean, I'm talking nonsense. We could actually laugh at things that were total nonsense. So one of my most favorite nonsensical jokes was, I'm not going to believe this. Y'all be like, and shocked like everybody else. Like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Yeah, well, we didn't get it either, but it was hilarious. Whether we got it or not, didn't matter. It was still hilarious. So, all right, I kept you in suspense long enough. Let me tell you the joke. It was, he went downtown. Yeah, that was it. That was the entire joke. Now, what's funny about that? It's hard to say. Do you imagine things are happening when he goes downtown? Is there something funny in the phrase, he went downtown? Nope. No, nothing funny about it at all. However, between me and my younger brother, he went downtown was a big hit. We would laugh and laugh and laugh. As soon as we would calm down, one of them would say, "Bud, he went downtown." And then we would just break up laughing. And that would go on and on. We could do this for an hour. And so, if we're going to bed like at 10 o'clock, by 12 o'clock, us giggling and laughing in our little fort that we built became a little annoying to our mom, who thinks, for some strange reason, that if you're going to be going to bed, you should go to sleep. So she would storm into the room, turn on the lights, see that we're both in the same bed with a little tent, and yell at us and tell us to get in different beds, and I'd have to scamper out and climb back up on the top bunk. And we would lay down in bed, and she said, "If I have to come back in here again, I'm going to beat y'all people to death." And then she would leave, and we'd be sitting in our bed saying, "Oh, man, I don't know why she's so mad. But all right, I guess it's time to go to sleep." And so we slide down, we start settling down, and then one of us would say, "But he went downtown." And then we just break out into laughter again. We would laugh and laugh, and we kept doing it. And as soon as we calmed down, one of us would yell out, "He went downtown," and then it would just break out again. Well, another 15, 20 minutes of that, and Mom would show up again, this time with switches. And she would just start whacking us. And whacking us, and we would get tears in our eyes because it hurt, and we would ask her to leave us alone, and then she would say, "Well, be quiet," and we promised that we would, and she would leave. And we'd be laying there trying to recover from our switching, laying in bed saying, "All right, I guess it's time to go to sleep now." And then one of us would say, "However, he went downtown." And oh man, was that so funny. It didn't matter that we hurt. It was still hilarious. Why was it hilarious? Who knows? It still was. And we would laugh and laugh and laugh. And finally, we calmed down from that. Apparently, Mom got tired of beating us. She usually wouldn't come in a third time. But we calmed down after that. And we would go back to being resting and trying to go to sleep. So that would go on frequently, night after night, year after year. That was just us. It made no sense. So as we come to today, at today's time, when I talk about that, I may just talk about nonsense. That's the type of nonsense I talk about. I could be like Joe Biden at a news conference. Just say anything. Makes no sense at all. And y'all have to hear it and wonder what it meant. It's probably funny to somebody. I probably laughed about it, even though I don't know what it meant. Or I don't even think it's funny. I may still laugh. That's the type of person I am. And hopefully I'll grab a couple of y'all and y'all laugh along with me. Why? Just because. Just because. Maybe it's because you see that I'm having fun, that I'm enjoying life. Maybe it's because you just needed something. And he went downtown was what you needed this today. You didn't need anything else. So I'm going to try in the future to have only 10 seconds, 10, not a binary number. 10 seconds of silence, and that's about all. So all you people who would like to have 10 minutes, that kind of turn into 15 minutes, or maybe even 20 minutes that turn into 30 minutes. Yeah, y'all aren't going to get that. If you really wanted it, you should have made a comment when you had the opportunity. And since you didn't, yeah, may not see that again. It may not show up anymore. What you get is what you're getting right now. Non-silence. And if you get silence, yeah, it'll be like 10 seconds. 10. That's all. So let's see what we're going to do today. Today, on our ride, we're heading to a new area. Okay, it's not really new. It's similar to areas we've been before, but not exactly the same area we've been to before. So somewhat new, but similar. So hopefully you enjoyed this ride. And maybe the talk. But whatever happens, and wherever it goes, remember the old saying that me and my brother enjoyed so much. He went downtown. He probably had fun downtown. Probably did.